Marx defines the working class as the owners of mere labor power, using the term proletariat from ancient Rome. He acknowledges that groups of workers reliant on selling their labor power had existed in pre capitalist societies, but under capitalism, the wage relation becomes the dominant form. He also recognized that all social classes have middle and transitional levels, making the question of what defines a class more complex. In modern society, Marx's early descriptions of the working class portrayed them as emerging manual laborers who owned nothing and depended entirely on selling their labor. For Marx, the working class held transformative significance in human history. In his work Contribution to the Critique of Hegel's Philosophy of Right, Marx identifies the working class as the class destined to achieve not only its own freedom but also to emancipate humanity as a whole. He views the oppression of the proletariat as the complete loss of humanity, and their emancipation would lead to humanity's full recovery. He describes the dire poverty of the working class who lived in static misery during prosperity and suffered the most during distress. Workers, he says, labored like slaves, shortening their lives and being reduced to machines by modern factory mechanization. In his work The Holy Family, Marx reiterates the working class's world historic role, arguing that their extreme inhumanity would drive them to abolish all inhuman social conditions. He believed this struggle for human freedom would arise because the working class, due to its crucial economic role, was historically compelled to conduct it. Marx predicts that the working class would undertake a total revolution against the bourgeoisie, replacing the old society based on private property with one that excludes social classes. Marx detailed the historical development of the working class in the Communist Manifesto. As the bourgeoisie developed, so did the working class, with workers able to find work only as long as their labor increased capital. Workers sold themselves piecemeal like commodities subjected to market fluctuations. As modern industry advanced, small workshops gave way to large factories, imposing a despotic military discipline on workers. Initially, workers struggled individually or in small groups against this despotism, later organizing within specific industries. Eventually, the working class formed a national body developing class consciousness to challenge the bourgeoisie's economic and political dominance. Despite setbacks from competition among workers, the working class movement would recover, becoming more resolute and powerful. Marx advocates for workers' movements to organize nationally on economic and political issues, seeing them as essential for winning democracy and becoming the new ruling class. In the Communist Manifesto, he proposed measures for a working class government, including nationalizing major industries and land, implementing progressive taxation, creating a national bank, and providing free education for all children. Marx saw these national class struggles as part of a broader international effort to abolish capitalism. He enthusiastically supported the formation of the First International in 1864, working actively on its General Council. Marx had good relations with British trade union leaders but faced opposition from anarchists who disagreed with his support for legal national working class parties and unions. After the 1872 Hague Congress of the International, Marx suggests that workers in democratic countries might achieve power through peaceful means. His leadership in the First International reflected his belief that the social revolution had to be international. In the Critique of the Gotha Program 1875, Marx criticized the German Socialist Workers' Party's draft program for neglecting the international dimension of class struggle. He also warned against diluting the idea of class struggle in an 1879 circular letter to German socialist leaders. Marx analyzes the exploitation of workers, showing how surplus value is extracted despite the apparent fairness of labor power's purchase and sale. He illustrated the harsh working conditions and social life of workers in England, the only country where workers were the majority at that time. He discusses the differentiation of functions within the working class. He defines productive labor as labor that directly creates surplus value, but noted that the overall labor process's real labor was the aggregate worker. This included those who performed services that facilitated the sale of the product. For example, the labor of clerks, while not directly producing surplus value, enabled the capitalists to extract it and was thus a source of profit. This broad view suggested that various roles within the working class contribute to the capitalist system.